Welcome to Your Region This Week. I'm Anandi Karawulleri. In this episode, we talk with a local pharmacist about the passing of Bill C-64 and what it means for pharmacare. And going behind the microphone, we talk with a familiar public address announcer. But first, here's a look at the headlines. Ontario is moving to extend a temporary gas tax cut until next summer. Premier Ford says his government will put forward legislation that, if passed, will keep the tax at 9 cents per litre until June 30th, 2025.
In 2022, we introduced a temporary gas and fuel tax cut by 10.7 cents per litre, saving households hundreds of dollars over the last 2 years. And today, I'm thrilled to announce that as part of our fall economic statement, we'll be extending this tax cut through to June 30th, 2025, saving households approximately $380 a year.
The Canadian Medical Association wants companies to scrap the sick note requirements for employees with short-term minor illnesses. The association says by doing this, it could prevent as many as 12.5 million unnecessary healthcare interactions in 1 year, stating that sick notes load physicians with unnecessary administrative tasks and weaken patient care. Grand River Hospital has unveiled artwork by local Indigenous artist Luke Swinson. The artwork features local birds found along the Grand River, reflecting the ways in which the Grand River is life-giving and connected to creation. It is located in patient registration and is accessible to anyone who passes through the KW campus of the hospital. Well-known musician Bob Egan is retiring from his role with the City of Kitchener.
Very bittersweet. It's no exaggeration to say that I felt very honored to be in these roles. To have, the notoriety and a few basic skills to be able to contribute, right? That's, I don't think you can ask for more out of life than that. And so I was blessed in a non-spiritual way, with the opportunity to do the work that I did at Kitchener Public Library, raise money and bring the Hefner Studio to life, these 4 recording studios that anybody in the community can use for free. And the Sun Life Instrument Lending Library there, 250 instruments that you can check out for free, just like a book, right? So I'm very proud of that legacy, and then the work I did at the city was something I'll truly miss. I really will.
Remember this one, Bob? They met in a hurricane, standing in the shelter out of the rain. She tucked a note into his hand. Later on, they took his car, drove on down where the beaches are. He wrote her name in the sand.
Coming up, a look at what the passage of Bill C-64 means for you.
The federal government to start working with the provincial governments, really to ensure that every Canadian has universal access to all the medications they need in these 2 categories, so in contraceptives and in diabetes.
Have you ever thought about just how much politics you speak about just in your own kitchen or in your living room? Or how many important ideas are shared or solutions to some of the world's biggest problems? Well, you're in luck because I'm inviting some of my friends to come and speak to me about everyday politics, and I'm bringing my living room to you. So join me on Wednesday evenings from 6 until 7 for Everyday Politics with Laura May Lindo.
We fought our way through Italy and then headed for Amsterdam, sweeping for Germans along the way. Our worst fear was to catch a bullet in these last hours of the war.
I was 15 when the Nazis invaded the Netherlands. More than 100,000 Dutch Jews never came home. Our men were put into forced labor. By 1945, we were starving. The food drops gave us hope. And then the Canadians came.
Before Amsterdam, I couldn't have explained why we were there, all those years away from home, but the Dutch showed us why it mattered.
Papa wanted me to bring some soldiers home to thank them personally. And that's when I first saw Wilf. And I invited him over that afternoon.
Marguerite Blaise married Lieutenant Wilf Gildersleeve. They moved to Vancouver, where they raised 8 children. Today, the Dutch still remember the Canadians who liberated them.
For 25 years, you've been helping to make our roads safer by doing the right thing. You've been the designated driver, you've stayed over, called home, you've called a cab or a friend, and planned ahead. Let's keep doing the right thing. Support sober driving by getting yourself and your friends home safely.
Do the right thing.
Visit ArriveAlive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive. Drive sober.
With the passage of Bill C-64, the federal government has committed to universal access to contraceptives and diabetes treatments.
A couple weeks ago, Bill C-64 received royal assent, and what that basically means is it's now law. The federal government to start working with the provincial governments, really to ensure that every Canadian has universal access to all the medications they need in these 2 categories, so in contraceptives and in diabetes. They've made a list of medications that they've proposed as a starting point, but of course it is a starting point, and while they, in the bill, talk about first dollar single payer coverage, public coverage, there's still a lot that isn't really entirely clear, and that has to be discussed between the federal government and the provincial governments. And so they've indicated that there may be an opportunity for patients to opt in or opt out, provinces to opt in or opt out. The list of medications is a starting point, but they're really committed to ensuring that Canadians have access to medications in these 2 categories, contraceptives and diabetes, and then to be discussed between the federal government and the provinces. Pharmacies are really generally funded through the prescriptions they dispense. And that not only covers ensuring that our shelves are full and that we have inventory in the stores, it also pays our staff, it pays our rent, it keeps the lights on, keeps the doors open. So when we think about the costs that it takes to operate a pharmacy, we're really relying on the funding for medications. And typically, most public programs tend to reimburse at a lower rate than a lot of private programs. And so there is definitely an impact to the pharmacy at the pharmacy level. And, we just want to make sure that we're able to continue to sustainably operate our business and make sure that we can be here for the communities that we serve and continue to offer the services and the accessibility of the services that we offer to our communities and our patients.
Some familiar faces from the Canadian small screen will be spending the weekend in downtown Kitchener as the Kitchener Comic Con takes over City Hall.
We're going to have a weekend full of fun. We've got plenty of events planned. The team from Degrassi, we've got Joey, we've got Caitlin, and we've got Snake coming in for the entire weekend to meet and greet.
Hey everyone, it's Pat Mastroianni, aka Joey Jeremiah, and I just wanted to remind you folks that November 2nd and 3rd, we're going to be appearing at Kitchener Comic Con. I'll be there with my good friends Stacey Mistician and Stefan Brogren, also known as Caitlin and Snake. It's going to be a really fun event. It's a free event happening at the Kitchener City Hall.
This is a community event, right? From the get-go, it's always been a community event. It's free admission. We have a VIP pass, which gets you, front of the line access and a few other perks like big goodie bag and stuff like that. But the whole idea is we're doing this for the community. Basically, when I was starting off my business, B&K Collectibles, I was literally operating out of my basement. So one day I decided, just for giggles, I pitched a tent on Cortlandt Avenue at the little strip mall by my house. And then the initial creator of Kitchener Comic-Con, Ronald Hopp, saw me, stopped, and came and talked to me. And he's like, a guy like you who has the guts, we'll paraphrase that, the guts to set up a tent and just sell stuff that are just toys like this should be at one of our cons. So I started off as a vendor, and eventually myself and Ronald got very, very close. I became a member of his team, his sales team. Eventually I became his director of sales, and then it progressed from there. Unfortunately, this year we started doing our setting up for Kitchener Comic-Con. We were going to do it in May, and Ronald got very, very sick. We ended up losing him in April, so we ended up pushing the Comic-Con back to November because we wanted to honor him and make sure that his dream did not go with him. So Kitchener Comic-Con happens November 2nd and 3rd at Kitchener City Hall. It's free admission.
A local television and production company, Fable Forest Films, will also be a part of the two-day event.
We started Fable Forest Films 10 years ago. For 10 years, we've been making feature films and television in the Kitchener-Waterloo area. And we're just really proud of what we've done up until this point, and we're really looking forward to continuing to make films and TV for another 10 years. We usually do our own screenings here in Kitchener-Waterloo. We love the Apollo Cinema. We do it there quite often. And then it's whoever will take it. So we've had some films that have gone to large streamers in the United States. Other times we're doing it ourselves on Amazon. We have a TV show that was on Bell for a few years. So it's always different, but it lands somewhere, and ultimately just want to get it in front of as many eyes as possible.
I guess the original concept for the golf tournament came from my dad. My dad passed away while we were making our last feature film, Shifted, and we had always talked about having a golf tournament, because golf was his passion, where filmmakers and the general public would get together and play a round of golf to raise money for student filmmakers, emerging filmmakers. We've grown every year. This year we raised very close to $1,000. F4 Film Festival is kind of an extension of that as well. We got really lucky working with Dan and Harley from Kitchener Comic-Con to include F4 in a pretty huge event in the Kitchener region. We've worked really hard to put together a showcase of worldwide films, some world premieres, some Canadian premieres, student films, local talent, and just some amazing horror and sci-fi short films. The two events, the golf tournament and the film festival, kind of work hand in hand to support emerging filmmakers. We honestly started out seeking submissions for F4 just in the local community. So we would share the submission platform on some local Facebook groups. Then we started sharing it a little bit more broadly, and then film submissions started coming in from all over the world. We have two absolutely wild films that are coming in from Iran. One female Iranian filmmaker and one male Iranian filmmaker, and their teams, of course. Claimant is one of the Iranian films, and Brothers Horn as well. And they're absolute wonderful masterpieces. We've also got some films from New York, Vancouver, and then a lot of Ontario, Windsor, Toronto, Hamilton, Guelph, and then a number of films right from Kitchener-Waterloo area. I think we have 9 films that were all shot within about an hour of Kitchener-Waterloo or right in the city, which is pretty amazing. The F4 event is happening Saturday, November 2nd between 5 and 9 at Kitchener City Hall as part of Kitchener Comic-Con this year.
Today, I helped a parent feed their family by connecting them to a food program.
Today, I helped someone connect with mental health supports.
Today,
I helped a couple struggling to pay their bills access financial aid.
Every day, 211 navigators connect Canadians to critical government and community programs and services.
211. Help starts here.
Hey, Chef D here. Join me Saturdays at 4:30 for At Home with Chef D, season number 10. Thanks so much for that. Hey, we're going to go back old school. We're going to join Julia Child and Graham Kerr and some of their great recipes and share some of their passion with you. At Home with Chef D, Saturdays at 4:30. Won't you join me?
Cooking with Chef D.
David Prang from the Chamber of Commerce Brantford Brant speaks with community members about events and organizations that impact the city of Brantford and the county of Brant. Chamber TV, Thursdays at 6:30 p.m., right here on Rogers TV. Do you like talk radio? Catch a televised simulcast of The Mike Farwell Show. Listen to callers rant or rave. Watch interviews with guests on topics impacting your community. The Mike Farwell Show, weekdays from 10 till noon on Rogers TV.
This is a man's heart, a heart in desperate need of medical attention. But because 78% of Indigenous people experience racism in healthcare, he may not get the help he needs. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
In sports, highlights from the Under-10 championship game between the Broncos and Bears at Schlegel Park in Kitchener.
Let's head to RBJ Schlegel Park for the Waterloo Flag Football Championships. This is the U10 matchup featuring the Broncos and the Bears. Both teams looking to play hard and become champions. Jumping into the action, and it's the Bears starting strong. Xander Gusso completes to Theodore Knight. Theo gets over half for her first, and the Bears would finish the drive. It's Xander Gusso going back to Theodore Knight. Theo flies into the end zone, and the Bears take a 6-0 lead. The Broncos with the ball now look to answer. It's Lucas Cortez on the rush. Lucas picks up a first before Willem van der Linden flags him down. The Broncos move into midfield and they go to the air on the next play. Colton Osmond receives and Colton takes off. He's into the end zone and it's 6-6. The Broncos look to rush for the conversion, but how about the defense from Felix Benavides? Felix dives for the flag and we stay tied. Some good D from the Bears, and the Broncos D would keep pace. It's Caden Reed with a quick flag in the backfield, and the Broncos turn the ball over. The Broncos looking for a leg up, and it's Colton Osmond on the carry. Willem van der Linden stops him just short of the line. The Broncos need a finisher, and it's Leo Garcia to Lucas Cortez to get it done. Lucas gives the Broncos the lead, and it's 12-6. The Bears look to respond by looking for Caden Reed on defense. Caden comes down with a football, and it's an interception from Reed. He takes off the other way. Caden's going for the pick six, and he's got it. It's a huge play from Caden Reed, and it's 18-6 Broncos. The Broncos up 12, but this one wasn't over yet. Xander Gusso spots up Mashai Kurtama in the end zone, and the Bears are back within a single touchdown. The Broncos looking to put this one away, but it's Felix Benavides stepping up on D. Felix snags the flag, and the Bears get the ball back. The Bears with possession in their own end, and it's Lucas Cortez reading the play. Cortez picks off the pass, and the Broncos get the ball in Bears territory. Third down now for the Broncos. Leo Garcia's touchdown pass is knocked down by Willem van der Linden, and the Bears get one last chance. The Bears needing to score, but it's Lucas Cortez shutting down the miracle. It's another interception from Lucas. The final whistle sounds, and it's a championship for the Broncos. They take the final over the Bears with a final score of 18-12.
For more local sports stories, check out 519 Sports Online. Darren Stevenson and his team work to bring our community stories about local athletes. Visit 519sportsonline.ca.
Still ahead, making his mark, celebrating a career achievement.
I love announcing is the main thing. Like I'm so happy with what I'm doing, I'm not gonna lie. Like I wish I could do this for a long time.
Hey, we're Chris and Kim.
We are the hosts of What's Buzzin' Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. on Rogers TV.
We're gonna chat about what's trending, interview some awesome guests, and just get to hang out with you. We're in your living room, having a blast on a Wednesday, and Cameron might bully me a little bit too.
Slightly.
That could happen too, because that's what we do.
Just because I'm here.
Yeah, and that's Wednesday nights on Rogers TV. Let's do this.
Clubs, leagues, and courts in every province and territory across Canada, squash is the sport for wall-to-wall fun, fitness, and friendship. From coast to coast to coast. Learn to play and you'll want to do it every day. Squash. Play inside the box.
You must be the reporter. Come with me.
So, Miss McGill, how does it feel being Canada's famous women engineer?
The real story is the work we've done retooling this factory.
To build the Hawker Hurricane?
Indeed. 40 planes last month with a capacity of up to 100. Our fighters are over England as we speak. Of course, it pains me to see airplanes mass-produced like boxcars or baby carriages. But in war, we make concessions in favor of innovation.
You must feel at home, though, managing all of these women.
I'm not here to manage women.
Well, you must admit it is an unusual job.
I'm the chief engineer here. I do what engineers do. That's all.
What are we doing now?
We are to win this war. We need to know how she flies.
Elsie McGill was the world's first female aeronautical engineer. She oversaw Canada's production of Hawker Hurricanes during the Second World War, earning her the nickname Queen of the Hurricanes.
And finally for us, a big milestone for a member of the Rogers TV family. Lucas Fafaro, the son of Rogers TV Kitchener Rangers broadcast host Sean Fafaro, is marking his 500th game as a public address announcer next week.
And thank you to our media partners, Magic 167 and 1416 Seagull Airways. Malcolm Glanville, 4-3.
Yeah, I have my 500th announced game over all sports. I'm really excited. It's going to be a women's volleyball game at Conestoga College. My dad actually told me, because he keeps track of that number, and I was very shocked that we're actually already there. It's been, in a very short time, a lot of games, but it also makes sense because I've been working hard, and there's been some long days where I have 2 or 3 games, but I wouldn't change a thing. I love doing this. It's so much fun every week. The way this all started was I was actually a DJ for my dad while he was announcing at the University of Guelph. And then we would sometimes do some assignments where they're like, hey, do you want to come and do football at Waterloo? And then it would take both of us to do announcing and DJ. And then they knew that I had started filling in basically after that, because there was a hockey game in Guelph one time where it was just like, hey, we need somebody, our guy is bailed. And I'm like, Dad, I've been watching you do this. It's pretty easy. In my mind it was, because I'd just been sitting beside him hearing, so I'm just like, I could do that. And sure enough, I did it, started filling in, and when we go fast forward to Waterloo, then they just walk right by my dad and are like, hey, we need a sports announcer for all of our sports next season. Our guy is leaving. And sure enough, yeah, I would rather drive 5 minutes than 30. I just love sports, really, and creating the best event, I guess. And I learned a lot of that through my dad, and just how he carries himself doing those games. And I've tried to kind of make it my own, as well as use some of the things that I've found there, especially with announcing, obviously. The camera work has been a little bit my own thing, which I've been able to explore. I love working Kitchener Rangers games, especially going on ice and stuff like that. Just seeing every aspect of an event has always been a big thing for me, so I can understand also how everything works. First out of the gate, I was my dad's cameraman when he was the host at the Rangers games. So I would do his interviews, and then I would do some bench shots where I would stand on a milk crate and shoot over a stick rack, which was fun, but now that's elevated to me going on skates. So that's super exciting. But yeah, it started out as interviews and yeah, just on a tripod or just big camera on my shoulder on a milk crate. Growing up, I used to go to those Kitchener Rangers games as a kid with my friends, go to birthday parties, go in the dressing room, loved the Rangers, had the signed stick and jersey. And when we did that, like my dad had filled in a couple times working the Rangers, and I thought that was so cool. But now having him as the guy, like the host there was awesome. Not only that, but now I'm his cameraman and I got to be there every night. It was honestly like huge dream come true to be down there. We got used to it now and we love it still, but yeah. I was like super starstruck in the first few games, just being down there and around everything. It was super awesome. The coolest thing would probably be having done nationals for volleyball. It's 2 different years in a row, but going to McMaster, and I'm bilingual, so I was speaking French. I took up the French announcing for the entire tournament, and for French teams, I would do just only French announcing for them, so points and everything, just so their fans could be a little bit more accommodated as well, and their fans afterwards loved it. They would come up to me, and I got some super high praise from some people from Sherbrooke University, Montreal University. It was amazing. Those tournaments, it's like such a big scale event, like it was on TSN and all this stuff, and I got the call 2 years in a row. I loved it. That was probably the coolest thing that I've done. I love the PA announcing side of things. If I could, I would love to push to something as high as like the Toronto Raptors or the Toronto Maple Leafs, or I know I can't steal my friend Adam's job at the Toronto Argos, but yeah, that one would also be amazing. Like I love football and basketball. Hockey is great. There's a little bit less to do, but on a bigger scale event like that, there's always more to do. So I would always love to explore doing those things. Just higher level sports and bigger events would always be the next step and what I'm looking for.
That's our show for this edition of Your Region This Week. Thanks for watching. I'm Anandi Carroll-Woolery. See you next time.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Kitchener's perfect music mix is on Chime 96.7. So every song is someone's favorite song. On Chime 96.7. Drop it!
Donations to the War Amps have a lasting impact on amputees. Today, your support gives them the artificial limbs and resources they need for everyday activities.